Worked out what the problem was. Hi everyone on YouTube, it's Giles here. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to, what am I calling this video? Autism vs Social Anxiety Part 2. I worked out, why is my voice, it's not... I worked out what went wrong. It's because I wasn't factoring in how chunky some of these video logs I've been recording are, and it turns out my phone was incredibly full up to the gills with these video logs, so I just deleted them all. Sorry, I'm just messing with the lighting, and by lighting I mean I'm moving windows around on my computer to put more light on my face. Because there is a bulb right behind you, but it's not that powerful. I mean, no, it's too powerful. What am I talking about? It turns me into a Simpsons character. Hello. So, let's see, where were we before we were so rudely interrupted? I told you guys I'm going through, like, you know, this consideration of obsessive compulsive disorder, and I just love splitting a video in half. It's my favourite thing in the world. I live for it. My God, when I go to bed tonight, I'm going to be lying in bed thinking to myself, I'm so glad that video was split in half. That's the greatest thing that could happen ever. But let's see, we're talking about social anxiety, social anxiety being a result of mental health issues, and autism being neurological. And so to think about that and try and think about different examples of each one, like, okay, so say I go into the pub with friends, and I have had a problem before with, you know, with autism, there can be highs and lows, and I think when you have a high, you can ride it, and when you have a low, you can go very quiet. The highs are brilliant because you can overstep the social barriers, and that can have some very beautiful effects, such as complimenting someone. You know, you can sort of you can breach that that concern of the wrong ways they might take it and stuff like that, because usually I would say in such a huge percentage of situations a compliment does land, but we just think that it's not going to land. But the biggest problem is that if you say a compliment while paranoid that it won't land, then it will not land. You know what I mean? It'll come out stilted and weird, and so it will sort of, it will blow its own cover, you know. It's weird because when I'm sort of when I'm at a pub and say I'm on a low and I'm deactivated or non-verbal, and I'm just sort of murmuring at people, you know. So what would you like? Sorry, what was that? Do you know, I remember this time I was in Subway. Oh, I really hate Subway. And the thing is, I hate Subway, but what does, you know, pull me by my Goldilocks into there is the fact that I do like the sandwich that I get from Subway. And so, you know, as difficult and as awkward as I find Subway, I'm like, I brave the storm because I like the sandwich. To be honest, Subway should hire me. They should hire me. They'll be like, this is Giles. He's autistic and can't handle how our stupid stores function. But our sandwiches are so muscular that he will do it. He says they're worth suffering for. Oh dear, I could be like Jared just without the child pornography. But he like, when I'm in there, I remember one time I was with a friend of mine, and I don't remember it the way he says it. The lady asked me if I wanted cheese, and I said, No, and I said double cheese. But she was like, huh? And I was like, double cheese. And my friend said I was like practically like caveman talking, and it sounded like I was saying double cheese. And in my mind, like when I look back on it, and I've got, you know, I've said this before, I do have severe dyslexia, but my long-term memory is very finite, and I thought I was being crystal clear. I thought I was like double cheese, but apparently they were both thinking I was saying the complete opposite. But it's because it's sort of like I don't know, like when you lock up like that, it can happen fast and without warning. And I think why that can happen to me is that say I go to a Subway with a friend, I know my friend, I trust my friend, I get along with my friend very well, and so I'm talking to my friend the whole time, and then suddenly a stranger, no offence to her, very nice person, but a stranger is like, talk to me now. And so I'm just like, don't cheese, because honestly, like, that's the thing that drives me insane about Subway. The whole time I'm queuing, the whole time I am queuing, I am thinking Italian, 12-inch melt, double cheese. Italian, 12-inch melt, double cheese. If I'm remembering it all, that's got to be all of it. Italian, melt, 12-inch, double cheese. Is that all of it? Am I forgetting Italian, melt, 12-inch, double cheese? Have I changed the order in which I'm saying that? Does that mean I've forgotten something? That is my head. It's on a loop. Like it is rehearsing and preparing for that moment, that magical moment where the woman says, "What do you want?" And the problem is, I have prepared that script. Just mayonnaise. Just mayonnaise. No salad. I have prepared that script in my head, and it's like the second we go off course, or if I've forgotten one of the various components of that script. The mayonnaise one isn't so bad because that's in a separate section of Subway, isn't it? Because they go, what do you want? You go, melt with on white bread with double cheese, and then they put it all together, and then that's the next bit, isn't it? And so just for the next bit, I'm laid back at this point. I'm literally like, that's easy. That's easy. I just say no salad, just mayo. That's easy enough. Remember, just two things: no salad, just mayo. No salad, just mayo. No salad, just mayo. That could be my computer password. Oh, please insert your password. No salad, just mayo. It's brilliant. You know, it's simple. It's easy to remember. But like, if one thing goes wrong with like the pattern that I have, it's chaos. It's chaos. It's like everything that I order from takeaways, I have a rhythm to it, so it's easy. You know, I go into McDonald's. I'll have 2 double cheeseburgers with large fries, please. And oh god, oh no, that's it. 2 double cheeseburgers, large fries, and a Coke. 2 double cheeseburgers, and it's got a rhythm. 2 double cheeseburgers, 2 double cheeseburgers. Do you know what I mean? It's like chicken chow mein, egg fried rice. Chicken chow mein and egg fried rice. If we get in Chinese, you go, what do you want for Chinese? Chicken chow mein and egg fried rice. You know what I mean? Hopefully you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, you're probably bemused. And I've updated my repertoire recently. I've replaced the egg fried rice for mushroom fried rice, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how, you know, we'll be going through this trial period, and when we've still got the chicken chow mein, you know, but sort of mushroom fried rice. There's a new syllable in the car crash that is my brain that's now been introduced, and so I've got to get my head around that. All this stuff not caused by trauma. No, it is not caused by trauma. You know, there's no point in my youth that I misremembered an order of things I wanted and accidentally got poison And there's no, you know, there's no point in my past where I was like, I will have double hamburgers, please. And someone was like, you make cheeseburgers, and they beat the shit out of me or something. That never happened. Like, it's not trauma related. And so, I know it's a really weird thing to sort of put on to sort of go, this is associated with autism, but I'm just using it as a demonstration of versus social anxiety. You know, like, I think one thing I thought was quite interesting, an interesting example, like, is when I was younger, much younger, when I was knee high to a grasshopper, but a tiddly peep. We in my primary school, I believe that's kindergarten for those elsewhere. We had a pool in the school, which it's quite unusual. Allegedly, also we're told. They always used to say that. They always used to say, you know, that they always used to be like, oh, you're so lucky to have a pool in your school. I hated it. I hated it with the force of 1,000 suns, and I still do. I will never, ever get into a swim pool again, unless I'm like really drunk or something. Well, I really hope not, because that'll be the end of me, won't it? But oh my god, you don't know. Oh, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Do you know what the funny thing is? I reckon I could probably swim in the sea. I would feel more comfortable swimming in the sea than I would the Johnny infected, you know, nuclear waste contaminated, dolphins dying on the shores of Hastings sea. Dolphins? Where the fuck did they come from? I didn't know we had dolphins around here. Apparently, dolphins washing up in Hastings now. Hopefully we'll get some live ones, and then we beautiful dolphin Hastings. You never know. Fingers crossed. Well, at least I hope there's no more dead ones, you know. Although if there were more living ones, that would mean more dead ones at some point. You know, it's inevitable because you know, dolphins do die. They're not eternal. What the fuck was I saying? Got distracted by the dolphins. Yes, swimming. So, swimming is an interesting one. The reason why it's interesting, and the funny thing is, if you hear my reluctance to approach the subject, is because it's kind of double fuckery for me, because it's like the autistic side of me made me vulnerable to trauma, if you know what I mean. Because I hated swimming. I always had. I remember, oh Lord, I remember I would like purposely forget my swimming kit and stuff like that. I'd turn up at school and be like, oh no, I guess I can't go in the pool today. I've left my kit at home. Oh. I remember like once or twice, like my nan like ran it to school. She was like there at school by the time we got there. She was like, you forgot your kit? And I'm like, thanks, Grandma. You really are helpful. That was me snatching the kit from her, by the way. Comedically snatching it. I didn't hit my grandma. She would hit me back twice as hard. So, I think the thing that gets to me is that, you know, when you think about like the shyness and the introverted qualities that you could associate with autism, of which I know, you know, I found that it was a genuinely horrific experience, just being in that close quarters with a bunch of twats. And I know I shouldn't say a bunch of twats. I could just go the neurological people. But the neurotypical people. But the thing is, it's true. Neurotypical people aren't by default twats, but then they still have twats within them. You know, a percentage of them are twats, and so if you're in a room with the whole class, it includes neurotypical people and the twats within them, and you know, like the I don't know, like autism, it's like I don't know if we're suddenly going to take a step into a step of depth here, but it's like when you feel when you feel like, I don't know, like the walls closing in. Social, I don't know if that's even a right term. It's like when you just hear noise and sound and general fuckery, like billowing closer to you, and you know, your eyes are down, like your ears are down, but they're still paying attention, and you feel like you're carving like a weird like force field around you, you know, and it's usually okay. I've said this before, and you know, I do apologise if I'm repeating myself from the previous video, but I genuinely have lost connection with what I said in the previous video. But like bullying, for example, I couldn't tell you how much I was or wasn't bullied in school, in all honesty, on account of I was very difficult to bully. You know, like the things that the kids do to hurt each other are very, typically, they're neurotypical. And so the things that they're trying to do to hurt me aren't registering. They're not getting a reaction. They're not offending me. They're not, you know, it's like, I don't know, like if somebody... I don't know. You know, I can't even think of an example, like things that would offend people, things that can be said. I think the only times I can really think of somebody really trying to hurt me was like you remember the grunge phase, when people had, a lot of people had like badges all over their bags and stuff like that. It's a funny thing, like they used to have like a lot of skater kids have like your backpack, which is usually made by Quicksilver, or can't think of another one right now, but I remember, for some reason the Quicksilver's board in my head, and they like used to cover their bags in like little badges of like bands you like, and you know, usually punk rock and heavy metal and all that sort of stuff. I remember this one kid like just like sat down with my bag. He like I was on the other side of the room, and he like took my bag out from my chair, sat down, and just started pulling the badges off one by one. I was like staring at him, and it's like you can't even make the words "what the fuck are you doing" come out of your face. But like he does all of that, and the first thing I think about is how fucked up he is. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to hurt him. I don't need to do anything back. Life's gonna do it for me. You know, like I know that's a really horrible way to say. Well, I mean, hopefully life doesn't do that, and what he's doing right there becomes a component of what makes him a better person in the future when he looks back at the things he's done. But like, I just like that sort of person that there's just, you know. The only thing that hurt me in that instance was the fact that I liked my badges being on my bag. You know, it didn't, the malice didn't hurt me, the intention didn't hurt me, like, oh, this guy wants to hurt me, that didn't hurt me. And the funny thing is, that same bloke, 2 weeks later, it was like near the end of school, and they're like, you know, that thing where they run out of lessons and they just start breaking out the board games and stuff like that. I played chess with him, and I had a really good time. We became like mates after that, and it's an interesting perspective because what he did is the actions of a bully, but just because I'm numb to the sort of things that could hurt, upset, or offend people. I just sort of like, you know, just sort of like, well, I miss the badges being on my bag. But I sort of lacked that association with sort of like, he did this to hurt me because he doesn't like me, or like I just had no connection to that. So, so when it's like, Charles, do you want a game of chess? I was like, yeah, all right then, yeah. It was a good time. But I'd rather have that than, you know, than hold a grudge or trauma and stuff like that. But you know, evidently, from what I'm learning, I don't exactly have a say in which path I'm choosing. But that said, I still have control over that situation. And I have control over that situation in the perspective that I can, you know, I can ignore him. I can step away. If he's sitting there pulling those badges off, as much as it's horrible, and I can see what's actually getting to me in that instance, that I can see him looking angry while he's doing it. You know, like it's sort of like, I think it might be an empathy thing, but it's like I said, he does that to hurt me. But the first port of call I go to is that this bloke is hurt in some way. You know, I keep saying bloke. We were children. You know, but in that instance, I don't have to be near him. I can step away from him. And generally, you find that most people never picked on me more than once or twice because they got so little out of it. And I always had, I would say subconsciously, I had that knowledge. So it didn't bother me when someone tried to pick on me. It's almost like subconsciously, I just sort of be like, you know, let them do it, you know, whatever they want to do, and they go away. And so when, can you believe I've actually successfully managed to connect back to where we were when I'm at the swimming pool and I'm in the locker room. I have absolutely no control over that. I have to be in that room. And I have to be in that room with these loud, obnoxious people. And you know, there's always those other kids that like to fight or like to roughhouse or like to talk about fucking football or shit rap music, or you know, and like you not only do you have to go there, you are in a compressed space with them, but you are then sent out into a pool, and it's like you willingly cannot break away from them. There's, you know, like if you're in a classroom and you sit down at your desk, at least then all you have to worry about is the person to your left and person to your right. If there's a person to your left, the person to your right. But in a swimming pool, you've gone for a locker where you're in a compressed space with all the guys, and then you're out in the pool, and which to me feels like a compressed space with all the guys and all the girls, and a teacher that is like a human foghorn. You know, like it is, and I think as well that I've often had claustrophobia, and I think chloroform, is it chloroform? No, chlorine, chloroform. This would be a completely different video if it was chloroform. That is not a pretty picture. It's jet black comedy. But you know, the chlorine like makes the air thicker, and I've always been very odd with that sort of thing. I've always said it's why I like the winter, because the air goes nice and crisp and sort of really gets into you. You know what I mean? Like, the like chlorine just makes me feel claustrophobic. Just the very feel. That's actually, now I think about it, that's probably why I don't, I wouldn't mind swimming in the sea as opposed to a swimming pool. And as well, there won't be other little shits there. Well, you know, there might be unruly children, but I'm a man now. I can punt them, you know. But the like being at that pool was just like, and I remember like so many things just not making sense. I remember like the teacher like yelling at me for doing it wrong, and I had no idea what she was talking about. I like in my mind I was like, I'm still floating and I'm moving while not drowning. What more do you fucking want from me, you silly woman? Like she was like talking about my swimming form and stuff, and I'm sort of like, surely you skank, the whole reason of learning to swim is so that you don't die if you go into water. You know what I mean? And I was in the water, not dead. I'd say this was successful. Only needed one lesson. Don't need to do it again, you know? But that I would say is a to me, you know, and this is just me conjuring it as I can see it. I think that's a good example of social anxiety and autism working together in chaotic harmony, because it's sort of like autism sort of sets me up in a position where I can be traumatized, you know, because there's no fucking way in hell I'm going back into a swimming pool. There's no way. And if I have to hear that pool voice that all swimming teachers have, the one that goes like that, I will rugby tackle them into the pool until the last bubble goes bloop. I don't mean literally, I'm just having some fun here. But I think I'll leave it there. Oh, and how will I leave it there? I was going to go on about doctors as well, because that's how this whole thing started. It's because I was thinking about my big toe and seeing a doctor, and I didn't want to see a doctor. Evidently, I don't need to see a doctor. It is healing. It's nearly better. So, but that I guess like the doctor thing, that's off the back of social anxiety, and that's more like the stereotypes of social anxiety, which I think the most obvious ones are professional stuff. You know, like doctors, dentists, hairdressers is one. That's not the reason why I have long hair, by the way. I have long hair because I like it. Restaurants can be another one. Like a lot of people with social anxiety don't like eating around people. They don't like being seen eaten. I often joke that I'm like a don. I like a wall from which my back can be placed when I sit down at a restaurant, you know, so that I can survey the kingdom. But again, I would say that particular one would be from the trauma of my assault, because I am comfortable there because I can scan the room and you know, make sure that there's no sort of KGB agents bussing any of the tables that are, you know, willing to take me down. I joke, but who knows what my paranoia is thinking when it worries about stuff like that. You know, it is an irrational fear, and it is irrational. That's what I call it, a phobia. You know, but phobias take their root in mental health as well. You know, but I've always had difficulties with doctors in particular, because doctors are sort of it's like there are two people for me to treat. One is the anxious side of me, and one of them is the autistic side of me. And that might be a video for another day, given all the stuff we're talking to, and we're at 30 minutes now, added to the previous one. But I think this has been a fair exploration between the two. But like I said, I think I want to go back to the doctor's thing at some point. I will add that to my list. I have a list. That's right. Checking it twice. I have general subjects, the autistic shit list, and the special characters. These are like stock videos I've got planned up, you see. It's not a special character. Is it a shit list? I put it on the shit list, but I actually, when I get a good doctor, I like good doctors. I just don't like bad ones. So it's a half shit list. I'll just put doctors there. We'll come back to that at some point. Anyway, I hope this video has not been too boring, and I hope that you're still alive. If you're comatose because of how boring it was, I hope you get better soon. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you very soon. See you later.